this decision and what made you want to take this step? Will I be returning to motorsports? Will I be keeping my house in London? What is next and what can we expect? This is probably the most asked question, and that is about funding. Hey besties, it's Derin here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well and having the most amazing week. I am so excited to be filming today's video, which as you can see with the title, is going to be a Q&A where we are going to be going into all things Colombia and my move to the US, which I of course announced in last week's video. And before we even get into any of that, I just want to start off today's video by saying the biggest thank you for all of your lovely messages, emails, comments, DMs. Like, I still haven't even gotten over it all, and I'm so grateful for you guys. You literally mean everything to me. Yeah, there are of course a lot of questions about the announcement, with you guys wanting to know a bit more about the move, how things kicked off, what's happening next. So I asked you guys on my Instagram to send in all of those questions my way, and I received a ton of different ones, which I've got up on my phone here. So first one that I got a ton of different variations of was essentially, tell us about what prompted this decision and what made you want to take this step. So as you guys will know, over the last 3 years I've predominantly been working in motorsports. It started off with me working in Formula E, then I transitioned into Formula 1. So I guess a lot of you were understandably thinking that I would be kind of growing and pursuing my career down that path. But one thing that has been really unique to my journey in motorsports, which again I kind of touched on in last week's video, is that whilst I've been working in motorsports, my role has actually been so incredibly broad that I've been able to work on a number of different things within the motorsports ecosystem. And this ranges from a mixture of course, you know, traditional motorsport side of things, also to things across the partnership side of things, getting to work on projects with UNICEF and DHL Motorsports for sustainability, to anchoring F1 Academy on Sky Sports, which of course is a series all about empowering young women and girls to get into motorsports. And I genuinely couldn't be more grateful to have had all of these experiences, because what it actually showed to me was that my kind of underlying passion and desire in all the work that I do within this space and in other things that I've done before is really just storytelling of meaningful projects that I'm incredibly passionate about, which for me I was able to identify lies in motorsports but also beyond, and can be transferable to a ton of different industries. So yeah, kind of in realizing that and knowing all of the other passions and areas that I'm really interested in, I knew that I wanted to kind of take those skills and learnings into a ton of different spaces. So yeah, that's kind of where this all started. I kind of go into more detail. Again, I know I keep referencing last week's video, but that's a good starting point if you haven't watched that yet. It kind of goes into the full story, so I would encourage you to go and check that out. The next question, which kind of leads on after that, is will I be returning to motorsports, as I've been referencing about how this chapter is now closing. And this is specifically referring to my Instagram post that I made, where I had a little paragraph in there sharing that this is the end of my full-time chapter working in motorsports. And I think I got a lot of questions about that, you know, people wondering if I'm kind of leaving that space forever, and the answer to that is no. It's obviously been a huge part of my life for so many years, and I will always continue to watch it and support it and to tune in. All that I meant by that was that I will no longer be working kind of championship side, presenting a full season for a championship. Moving forwards, my involvement within motorsports will very much be kind of more freelance, working with brands and teams on kind of one-off projects that are going on, as opposed to me doing all the races in the calendar and working for the championship. A couple of comments from you guys asking me what races I'll be attending before I leave, and that is currently confirmed as the Monaco Grand Prix, which I am so excited about. Literally the best race ever. If you guys ever want to experience a Formula 1 race, if you can, please try and go to Monaco. It is just so surreal and so iconic, and I had so much fun last year. I vlogged the whole thing. I'll be vlogging again this year. So Monaco is one of them, and then the second one is likely to be the British Grand Prix. I need to go. I've never done Silverstone before, so you'll likely see me there, and that will be the last rodeo before this next chapter begins. Which, let's speak about the next chapter, because this is probably the most asked question. What is next and what can we expect in this new chapter of your career? And I thought long and hard about what I wanted to share in today's video, but I realized that it actually probably doesn't make sense for me to speak about that next chapter just yet, because I am about to go onto a course where I'm going to be covering like 8 or 9 different disciplines within journalism and presenting that could very much expand what I want to do next or change that altogether. I mean, the course covers everything from politics to the news, just so many different avenues that I'll be able to explore on the course. But one thing that I can tell you within this next chapter is that it's very much going to be aligned with my core values and things that I'm incredibly passionate about in our generation and across culture and across media. And this is something which, again, if you've been subscribed to me for a while, kind of already been what I've been doing from, you know, my education, study tube era, to the projects that I've worked on over the years, to even my involvement in motorsports. So yeah, it's really exciting to just lean in on this full force in this new chapter. The options in front of me are like genuinely such dreams, and of course, given that it's at Columbia that I'm studying my masters, the opportunities that I have to do that are now so much vaster and so much broader, which again, I just give all the glory to God for, because yeah, I'm seeing like people graduate and go and work in the UN, go and work in the government, go and work for, you know, your biggest news networks. I'm trying to just kind of take each step as it comes, just remaining super open-minded with whatever step God wants me to take next. The next question is, will I be keeping my house in London? The answer to that is yes and no. Yes, in the sense that I will be keeping my apartment, the one that I own in East London, which is actually being rented out by a tenant, and no, in that this apartment that I'm renting out as a tenant myself is obviously not going to be mine anymore. Honestly, I think that that's going to be the biggest transition, because I've lived in this area now for like 4 years in total, so I will absolutely miss this place, but knowing that I'm only going to be here for another few months has given me a newfound appreciation for it all, and I will definitely be milking as much time in all of the amenities and the pool and stuff like that. And I'm also going to do like a proper apartment tour before I start packing up to leave, because I'm not giving you guys like a full tour showing you where everything is from. Okay, moving on to probably one of the most asked questions, and that is about funding. That is one thing about US university that has forever blown my mind. In the UK, we are so blessed with what the fees are here compared to what it is in the US. One of the best things about doing a master's, however, is that you are actually eligible for a ton of different funding and scholarship options, which for this degree Columbia does offer. I was not eligible. There are very specific criteria, and I just personally wasn't eligible for it, so I haven't received any funding from Columbia as a university. However, I am eligible for funding from external scholarships, which is what I've currently been pursuing, and then whatever's left over will be funding individually with my family. Yeah, that's one thing that I really wanted to make a good point of, because if you are looking to do a master's as an international student, particularly from the UK, there are so many different ways of making that a reality, whether that's university scholarships, external scholarship. One of the biggest scholarship opportunities for people in the UK, and I think Europe as a whole, is the Fulbright scholarship, which I know a ton of different people are on, and it's, I think, like the full price of tuition and living costs, which is unbelievable. That is something that you need to apply for 2 years before your course, however, and as you guys will know from last week's video, I very much applied to Columbia 4 days before the deadline, so obviously didn't have time to go and apply for that. But yeah, all I will say is that as much as the costs on the website are like, which they absolutely are, and it's actually unbelievable how insane it is, there are a ton of different ways to actually go about funding it that aren't as overwhelming as $126,000. Yeah. So next question is, how am I feeling about my move? Am I nervous? Am I excited? And someone asks, am I ready? So to answer the first part of that question, I am, as you can probably see, very, very excited about it all. Weirdly, I feel like my last 3 years traveling the world with motorsports has actually been the perfect preparation for this move, in that I've actually gotten really used to that dynamic over the last 3 years, being away from home so much. So it hasn't hit me yet. Maybe it will hit me a few months into it all, but for now the energy is just excitement. I'm really looking forward to it all. I'm actually going to be there next week to just kind of get a taste for it before the official move happens this summer, but very much open to any advice on moving abroad if you guys have some in the comments down below, because this will actually be my first time fully living away from home. And then onto that second part about, am I ready? That's a great question. Absolutely not. I mean, I've kickstarted it with kind of sorting out my wardrobe. I'm really keen to travel with my 3 suitcase allowance and leave it as that. So knowing that all of my miscellaneous stuff will take up 1 suitcase, we're allocating 2 suitcases for clothes and shoes, which for me is gonna be a mission. So what I'm doing to start things off now is doing a huge wardrobe clear out. So I'd really encourage you guys to follow me over on my Depop. It's at Derin. I've already been selling a couple of bits on there, and I'm just gonna be adding to that over the next few months. As for everything else, honey, I've always been a last minute person to the point where I literally like pack before moving to a new apartment like the day before, which I know is insane. So I'm not thinking about it too much. I'm not thinking about it too much. But yeah, once the preparations are underway, I'll be vlogging it all and taking you along with me for it all. And then I'm gonna go on to my final question for today's video, which I absolutely loved. And that was, what states do you plan to visit whilst in the US? And I love this question because I could be the poster child for like the US. I love it over there so much. And so I'm really keen to go and visit a few states there. Washington is a state that I plan to visit numerous times throughout my degree. Family are based there, and I don't know if it's me wanting to live out my Olivia Pope dreams, but like I just have a funny feeling I could see myself in Washington. I'm just gonna say that here. I don't know, I really love Washington. So that's number one that I wanna visit. I also have family in Atlanta who I've not actually gone to see in their move. They used to live in LA. So Atlanta is a big one on my list. Then the next two places are so random, but I see a lot of creators that I love live there, and so I'm keen to see what it's all about. That is Dallas and Nashville. I don't know, guys. Let me know what the tea is on Dallas and Nashville. It just feels like everyone in their 20s is living there and is loving life, so I'm curious to see what that's about. And then the final location for me is Miami, because Miami just looks like such a vibe, and I cannot believe I've not visited it after all these years. I've not even gone to Florida as a state, and I love the fact that it's like got great weather, it's got the beach, it's got the shopping, the food looks amazing. So Miami is somewhere that I'd love to visit, maybe on like my spring break, and yeah, just kind of suss it out and see what that is all about. But again, super open to you guys' recommendations, so if you have any in the comments down below, I'd love to know. My visa allows me to be there for 2 years, so I'm keen to make the most of it if that's all the time that I will be in the US for. Again, it's in God's hands, so let's see how it all plays out. But yeah, I just couldn't be more excited for this next chapter, and I want to thank you guys for all of your lovely questions, and again for all of the incredible comments of support in all of this. So yeah, that brings today's video to a close. Thank you for watching. Thanks again for your questions. I really hope you enjoyed it all. I'm actually going to be doing another one of these Q&As, but on my Instagram over the next couple of weeks. So if you want to ask any question about this or anything else in my career or work or life, feel free to ask then, and I will pop my Instagram on screen once again. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today. I love you guys so much. My next video, I believe, will be my New York vlog, which is kind of crazy. So I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, I'm wishing you all a lovely rest of your week. God bless you, and I'll see you soon. Bye.